This guy killed 3 of his wives. Every time he gets into a new relationship, the current partner always dies. Can you imagine finding out that your husband has 3 other kids and a wife in another state? It is not divorce that damages kids. It is the comfort. I want you to go out there and conquer the world. I hope you wish me the best as well. I want to see my ex thriving, being on Forbes. I'm like, man, I'm happy for you, man. If you have 2 really good friends that deeply and truly care about you, you have more than you think.
Hello and welcome back to the show. We've been out for a while and now we're back. Sorry for the absence. So today's topic is a topic really broad in different aspects. And we'll be talking about how your past can actually affect your present relationship with work, with relationships, with life in general. Today we'll be diving deep into this topic. I'll be giving our own perspective, and we are by no means experts in this topic, so you listen with caution. So, welcome back to the show. And the word, when you talk about the past in general, how it's going to affect one's current state of mind, relationship in general, life, workplace, how would you attack such scenarios?
I think the first thing is when we say relationship, it's an umbrella term, right? When we say relationship in this topic, we're talking about professional, we're talking about your business, relationships, your personal, your friendships, and also your romantic relationships, right? Everything's locked under one word. But it's an interesting thing because we come from a culture where we talk to the elders, right? The elders are more like the therapists. You go to them for everything.
Exactly.
Whether it's, romantic or personal, whatever is troubling you, whatever you're struggling with, you go to the elders and they talk you through it based on what their personal experiences and also what everyone in the community is experiencing, right? But we don't have that. The more, in a way, the more civilized we've become as a species, the more kind of segregated we've become, where it's like your life is your life, my life is my life, right? So we don't have wisdom passed down from generation to generation. Hence, now we need more therapy than ever before, right? But the things we've been through, which usually starts from our childhood, right, does have a way of bleeding into our present life or future self. Then if we're not really aware of those things, they tend to wreak havoc, whether you like it or not. And oftentimes things become subconscious, right? You're not even thinking about them. Those traumas we've all experienced, they become the program running in the back. So you start doing things without even thinking about it. But when you start digging deeper, why did I make that decision versus the other decision? Where did I choose to react this way instead of this way? Then you start to notice that there are a lot of things happening outside of your awareness. And I think that's one of the things we're going to be discussing today. Is what are these things? How can we overcome these things? Because we all want to make changes, and we do make changes. But oftentimes the changes don't stick because the subconscious or some people refer to unconscious mind is a program. It keeps running, whether you like it or it's running. And if you don't tap into that mind and resolve that conflict, that issue, that trauma, it should just keep playing. It's a record that plays forever. If you're not aware of it.
No, I agree, and I think, like you said, I was just gonna cheat code and say, yeah, our past informs and also shapes how we communicate, how we love, how we trust, and how we protect each other. Like you said, things, experiences that's happened to us in the past, or that we've experienced growing up, learning from community, from family, all those shape how we gonna act in the present time. Uh, like you said, we're going to be discussing more about what are these things that's we've experienced in the past that shape how we conduct business or conduct ourselves today. So I think talking about the past, it's very I think we're going to be considering a broad scope of past. It's not just relationship, it can be experiences with business. Well, relationships can be business, transactional, romantic, different kind of relationships. So we're not limited to any part. We're delving into all ramifications, like what others can. So I don't know if we're going to first start with romantic or business or
Uh, I'd say when you want to talk about, you can just choose whichever aspect of life you want to talk about. Yeah.
So if I will say relationship in terms of both intimacy and business, I want to touch on those. I would say, well, experiences are unique to every individual.
Yeah.
We can't say, and I'm going to be speaking from my own experience, from my own words. So we can't say everybody is experiencing the same thing about the subject or about it. So in terms of intimacy, everybody has been in relationships or are still in relationships, and we experience it differently from I don't know how early people get into intimate relationship here in the States, but for us, for me, it wasn't too early in my life, and I would say my experience or my past relationships, intimate relationships, has made me learn more. So being more attentive, listening, and see things from different perspectives made me more supportive or kinder, and in some cases also because we have good and bad experiences has made me put a wall to sometimes. Yeah. So I'm not gonna just lie that it's all positive from my experiences. But yes, for the most part, it's mostly the fact that I've learned and from whatever I've experienced in the past in terms of intimate relationships. And even in terms of business or transactional relationships. Sometimes there's this saying that say, how does it go? You don't always win. You don't, you lose some and you win some. And sometimes in transactional business relationships, you learn that sometimes you think you're gonna, it's a set in stone. You're gonna win in those situations, but you end up losing, and you learn from those situations. So I would say our past definitely. It's not about if our past impacts a relationship in all ramification. It's how we choose to respond to it that matters. And really, like I said, I've not experienced all good in the relationships that I talked about the broader part of the relationship. But I think personally, my response to it was just that I was learning through the process because I was still growing. And we still grow and learn till we die. And so even present relationships are not linear. There's always waves that come with relationships, regardless of what kind it is. And I will say I still am learning, and I still take the ups and the downs as learning curves and and growth and that. The most important to me is the growth part of things, and that's where I'll stop for now.
So, yeah, continuing from where you stopped, you said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of
How we respond.
how. So, look at the reason why I love this topic so much is because it's very broad, because it applies to almost every aspect of life. And one aspect that I know almost every grown person has experienced in one form or the other is the relationship aspect. So looking at it from that lens, a very good instance will be looking at it from, okay, looking at an individual who has past relationships, like romantic relationships, and now is in the current one, possibly marriage. And, because of the past experiences he has had, like you said, it's embedded in them, it becomes a norm. Like, okay, for instance, taking attachment or closeness. Now, one party may look at the whole attachment language as or the way they perceive attachment is like, oh, always have to be by his side or her side. I need to be like, attentive and all. Why another person with the other party may be like, oh, I just know her being around. I don't like this clinginess or wanting to know everything I'm doing. So I see like what one experienced in past relationships that has actually worked for them becomes his own reality, his own norm. Then he looks at it as
A reference point.
a reference point, kind of, yeah. Like that's the standard. And he's now with this person with a different attachment kind of a language. And he looks at that. This lady is becoming too clingy for my liking. Why can't you just be like every other lady? The same, you're looking at, you're comparing her with past experiences. So it's definitely, of course, it's not a matter of if. Or what do you think about it?
I think that's, well, when we look at attachment styles, whether it's avoidance or, you want your partner close to you, you want every decision your partner makes to be, you want your partner to run every single decision by you. It's all, I think a lot of the things we experience starts from childhood, right? Our childhood traumas.
Yeah.
And for example, if you had a parent that was not involved, that was kind of distant,
Yeah.
you may seek partners that are close because you want somebody close to you because you never felt like somebody cared, like your parent cared enough for you. So you may gravitate towards a partner that was, you refer to as clingy, right? Or you felt abandoned by your parent, whether it's, they gave you up for adoption or your parent was just not there. You may want that closeness you never had. It's a longing, right? There's a sense of longing that you're trying to feel. Trauma is like a hole. So you either feel it, you address the issue, feel it, and then you move on.
So, just a quick question. Now, one should be able to, put on the table what can be detrimental. So,
The ability
current
to discern.
relationship. Now, like we talked about earlier, trauma is subjective. What if the wife doesn't see that particular aspect as something tangible that may disrupt the other? They see it as a norm because everybody does it and she's not required to say, what do you...
Because you felt that it is just
You
right
would know.
for you
to just stay
to
with
disclose that part of your experience,
Yeah.
if your past experience to bar. You're good. How she now takes it, if she takes it as, oh, that's normal, that's what was that, that's normal, that's it, you're good. So because most of the things we want to disclose is something that will come up later.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, even you or the person. So those are the ones you disclose, whether the person see it as something big that you shouldn't
You
worry
don't have
about.
control over that.
At least you don't have any issues. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That it's going to come up and bite you in the ass or the bigger detriment to it. So at least you've cleared that. That's fine. That happens too a lot. Like what you said. Yeah, some people you say, I want to tell you something. Oh, I did this, that. Oh no.
Something like
But
that.
hey, you already said it. And because you thought that if it comes back later, it's going to hurt the relationship. You said it, that's just fine with it. Then we all go fine. Yeah, so that's it. So I just wanted to add.
And I appreciate you jumping in and clarifying. I'm not saying people should just go with it. But no one does that.
No one.
You go into a relationship, there's a certain wall you have. How
Yes.
big it is, it's
Everybody has it.
it's you know, and
Everybody
you
has it.
should never go into a relationship at the very beginning just word vomit and just no, you don't do that.
Do that. You're going to overwhelm.
No, you're gonna overwhelm the person,
It's
even if
all
it's
about you.
even if you're the nicest being ever. People are just gonna feel it's overwhelming. We take people in doses. It's people are like onions. There's layers to every person.
And some experiences come about.
It's
Past
something
experiences come
I
about.
juggled by present things.
Yes, during the course of the relationship, it comes out and it's clarified. It all depends on your communication with your spouse.
Correct.
So if you're in a healthy communication space with your spouse, things are going to come up. Let's just face it. That's why I said you can't have all the group of everything. Some of which you even forgotten, and that's that it wasn't even something.
What
It may be something to acquire, was fine.
yeah.
But they will come up. Even if you have a list of 10 things you want to tell her, you left some that may come up later.
And what you think is a big deal may not be a big deal to you. What you think it's not a big deal could be the biggest
That's what I'm
issue.
saying. So,
But there's certain
having
things.
a whole list.
No, it's not a list,
Or-
but there's certain
it's not
things
even
about
you.
you that you know,
You know
that.
like I said.
But those things, that's what I'm saying. Those things you have at the back of your mind. You're like, I don't want to bring it up. I'm ashamed if they find out this about me. Oftentimes, I've seen people's relationships like that they've done. Everything was great, and something came up, and then the answer was, I was ashamed of that. And then the partner's response is, you should have given me the option to stay away. You took that away from me.
Just like a friend of mine,
Right.
while we were in the military, company, people say, oh, you really can't go donate your sperm, for people who are looking for checks. And some a friend of mine, they did that. But in the end, they tell you when your sperm is not fetus, and then until the person gives birth and they say, oh, this is because it's an agreement. There's no any connection between you donated this sperm, and that's just a contract. So yeah, so they met the love of his life, married, never told person. And somehow the DNA testing thing and they linked the person to that. And so you have a child never told me about. That's a problem. So these kind of sensitive situations, it doesn't mean it's going to end the relationship. It also depends on how communicative you and your spouse is and how healthy your relationship is. Yeah. That's what is going to determine the turn that relationship is going to take after finding out things that maybe you thought was not too big to disclose at the end. Or
We never discuss everything.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't. So you can't
Possible.
remember every bit of your experience, and some of them are going to come up that the person may think is a big deal that you don't say. So still, we're talking about that awareness, the communication skills. Always inform how we communicate with our spouse and how we deal the world, protect ourselves, and all of that. So I don't think there's, we're not experts, like you said. I don't think there's any textbook format that we have to follow in terms of disclosing everything. But again, like you said, it is those things that you think as a person.
That
that
things
you think you already know is very important, some to you that if you don't say this, it can come back and hurt you. Those you can even say. You can open up and just say it so you're clear, very clear, and you make the partner know this
you're
is
being
what
honest too.
this. I just think I have to let you know before we go on. So yeah.
Yeah, I see reasons to what you say. So, like, it's always, yeah, especially it kind of conforms with what the society requires. Like, put down your cards on the table and give me the option to walk away.
Right.
And I think that is fair.
It is fair, but there are cases. I really don't have any example in my head right now, but there are cases where what one party deems minute or inconsequential can be a big deal for the other party. Now, the second part of the question, they built this empire. They've had children. They've done this and done that. And maybe one of the spouse's friend just plotted something and the other person's like, oh, I didn't know about that. And this issue is so heavy, or the other party takes it so, so as like very big deal, and like, yeah, why didn't you say this? I could have said it, but I didn't remember, or I didn't feel it was a big deal, and this now is kind of paving a way where, I don't know if that's the right word, but where the whole relationship can be destroyed.
True.
So if they came to you again as a therapist,
Okay.
without looking at what is societally accepted or what the society accepts or what is expected of you by this, how would you? Because
Why would
now,
I advise my clients or
Yes.
the couple?
So let's not for a better
because
word,
it's a big deal
let's
and
not
it's
say
almost
as a therapist.
So
Let's just
say
say as-
someone you can confide
as
in,
a-
you
okay, as
can
a
seek
friend,
confidant,
advice.
yeah,
as a
okay,
confidant.
So
okay.
confident and you
Yeah.
can seek advice.
So you know the situation, you know how long they built this empire, you know how many kids are involved, you know, especially the mental part of it too. You consider every aspect.
It's a tough one because I know people that are in relationships that I don't always approve of, but they're good friends of mine, and I've never come on and say, "Hey, leave your partner." The question is simple, in my opinion, is with what you know now, do you see your partner or your spouse differently?
So before you consider every factor,
Mhm.
like factors in terms of
I know there's assets now, there's emotional attachment, there's a
everything,
financial impact.
kids
There's so many
involved.
impacts. But again, we have to look at it from depending on what it is. Because again, and I know I said this jokingly, but now I'm going to say it in a more serious, using a more serious tone. If your partner had a killing spree,
That's what I was going to say.
Right?
I say it has to be.
it's not a one size fits all. If your partner had a killing spree, did they have a mental breakdown? Are they going to have a mental breakdown? There are people, I heard a story a few days ago where this guy killed 3 of his wives. Every time he gets into a new relationship, sort of, I don't know the whole story, the current partner always dies. So are you telling me that I should now say, you know what, maybe you're safe, you're different. You're most likely not different, right? So when you think about that, somebody has a past of cheating on their partners. Okay, that's bad. I didn't know that. You've cheated on everyone, but I'm the only one. Okay, that's kind of suspicious. Yes, I have. I've been going to therapy. I've learned. Blah blah blah. We can kind of see where they've made changes. I used to have a promiscuous past because the person you're with is very religious, and you decided to withhold information because we don't withhold information from people that we think they're okay with. We withhold information we know they're not okay with. theirs, taking their decision from them, right? So if it's something like that happen, we have to look at the situation because, yeah, maybe your partner was, did some fraudulent things with an employer. Yeah, I get it. Back then you were starving, you were on the street, you had no other choice. You've lost your house, you had little kids. The things we can look at and say, as the behavior changed, what happened? Was it not necessarily justified, but if I were in the shoes, is that something that would have crossed my mind? That's something most people would have done. Yes, it doesn't make it right, but it makes you able to understand what's going on. And if it's changed. Obviously, if it's that big, you see your partner differently. Will therapy fix it? Because if therapy won't fix it, I was listening to a podcast recently. I don't listen to it. Just a snippet of it. And this guy was saying it is not divorce that damages kids. It is the conflict. It is better for two parents to go the separate ways and be friends and be cordial than to be in the same house and be fighting. And I think we have that mindset, like if the kids, if you live under different rules, that's no. It's the conflict that damages children, not the divorce. What we've done is we've associated divorces with conflict. If I go my way, you go your way. We don't have to be enemies. We can be friends. So let's look at the whole picture. Can we fix it through therapy? Can we, as the issue being addressed, is this something you can overlook? If the answer is no, I will never be able to overlook this. If I'm Muslim and my spouse gave me pork, knowing that in my religion, that is a no. But she did it because she was like, well, I don't have time to cook. Something else. And knowing that, I may not be I'm not Muslim, but for a Muslim person, I can see that being the end of that. That's a level of betrayal I can never overcome. And people have the right to say, I cannot overcome this level of betrayal. So we have to look at it. Sometimes this is what I did, this is what I've done, so that it never happens again. And that's good for most people. And depending on what it is, it's fine. But for some people, it's like, that is a hard no for me. If I had known that, I would never have interacted with you in the first place. And that's
Sorry,
fine.
before you jump in, I just want to, what you could have said is it's dependent on the emotional maturity of this person.
No, not necessarily emotional maturity.
Because
I can be emotionally mature,
and not want to say something.
but some things can be a no for me.
So I agree.
Emotional maturity does play a
Are
huge
we
factor.
answering?
What you would tell the friend, the couple.
Yeah, are we answering with the same rules that we're not? So it's our own personal opinion.
Yeah, it's your own personal opinion.
Personally, I think there are two factors. Because you said we're talking about past experience that comes up after everything that's been through to the game contract, right? If I get the question.
Sorry, I was looking at you.
So
question.
I was. So the question is, we're talking about the past experience that comes up after.
That comes up after the beauty empire.
With a different partner, all right?
Yes.
So yeah. So I say two factors to me personally. It depends on what has come up, and it also depends on what the dynamic of our relationship.
Correct.
There's two will determine what is going to happen following the 5 minutes or whatever it comes. So, say never happened, maybe never would happen. Sure, pretty sure. Okay, let's even switch. Let's say it's the man that the past experiences come from. So probably he was married, or he used a similar analogy. He was married before he has this match too. And she has come and the new one has come and built some to add to what he had, but the mansion was there before, while the previous wife was there. And maybe she passed mysteriously for some reason. he killed the wife and buried them in the backyard where they're living now. So you see, that's the analogy. So that's what I'm saying. It depends on the experience that's coming up. So that is going to be a no, because I didn't know you killed your ex-wife, and there's still probably is still an open case somewhere cold that has gone cold. And probably when the lady was doing the garden, she struck the bone of the ex-wife, but that's, you can't, it's even just not making any sense to me for you to get yourself involved. Although you're somewhat involved now because you've been living there.
You love this person.
When the investigation starts, it's going to come to you too. They're going to ask you questions. Were you dating this person while you were still they're married with the other person? So they will go through all the thorough process of investigation.
Yeah.
So that is a no. That can be a no in the sense that even me probably endangered what you said for your analogy where every person that's been with that person is stopping. So that can be a tipping point. Even if we have a very good communication, healthy relationship, dynamic skill, you can tip everything up. I'm still seeing it where the person may still choose to stand by the person because, like you said, things has changed. This person now doesn't look like someone who would have done that. What were surrounding?
What were the circumstances?
Yeah, what was the surrounding circumstance for the death of that? Was the person being attacked and then the self-defense, they defended themselves, and then people get scared when that kind of thing happens, that the easiest factor is to go back. So those two play the factor. And it's not ever going to be the same for everybody. That's why I'm answering from my own side. Those two factors will determine if I'm going to end that thing or, either help to, help person. Yeah, but that aside, I don't know, you wanted to say something?
No, I was agreeing with you.
Very good. So I'll just say personal growth involved just means being aware of the past and how that can affect your present in ways that maybe either good or bad. And, I think, like we've all said and agreed upon, it's how we respond to these situations that is going to determine how our present
Quality of life.
Yes, quality of life dealing with people in general is going to be the leading edge that's presently. Yeah.
It's the invisible luggage we all carry. We all have things in our past that we've forgotten that happened, good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't really matter. And like you said earlier, there's certain events, certain things that happen that will. Music is one of the most powerful tools because music can take you back to a point in time you would experience because there's an emotional attachment, right, to a song. The songs I listen to, like if I were to listen to certain songs that I did when I was in college, I'll probably start dancing right off the bat. It took me, like it takes me back to that point. It could be the very first time I heard that song, or it could be the time I was having fun with my group of boys and we're just hanging out. And I'm like, man, this is what life is about. No worry, no stress, no nothing. There's more to it than, and you talked about financial and I think I touched on the kids, how being in a healthy relationship, having a healthy relationship either with your spouse or your ex-partner is better than being under the same roof with chaos. Right? Chaos is what damages kids. It's not whether you live under the same roof. It's kids struggle with that. Don't get me wrong. But what has a much bigger impact on kids is seeing their parents at war. And we need, as a society, we need to get away from that mindset that we're no longer partners. There has to be war. No. I want you to go out there and conquer the world. I hope you wish me the best as well. I want to see my ex-partner, thriving,
Right.
being on Forbes. And I'm like, man, I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy, even though our time didn't last forever, but I'm happy that. And I want you to be able to say, you know what, that guy, even though we're not together, I learned so much from him. That is the kind of relationship. And you're right. The relationship you have says a lot. You have a relationship where you can tell your partner, your current partner, things about yourself, knowing that they will accept you for who you are. Because the goal of any relationship is to be honest. You should be honest, especially in a romantic setting. You should be honest with you. If they ask you a question about your past, you say, yeah, I did it. I'm ashamed of it, or I'm happy about it, or it doesn't make a difference to me. And here's why. Not hiding things, because when it does come up, it never comes up when you're ready for it. It comes up in the least expected places and times in a conversation with a complete stranger. It's how some people have found their spouses stepped out on them. They have another family. Can you imagine finding out that your husband has 3 other kids and a wife in another state? Talking to a complete stranger and they're like, oh yeah, my dad. Opens up, I love my dad. I don't see him all the time in the picture. These are things that have happened to people.
Yeah.
And you're sure like, that's your dad? Like, yeah. No. This guy, now you take out your phone
And show him the picture.
and now you're like, we have the same dad. Oh, every time my dad leaves every week for a business conference. Explains why.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting topic that is somewhat broad because we really pounded and focused on it. The intimate relationship part of it is too broad of a topic that I think we may even have to discuss other parts like, business relationship and all of that. But what I would say to this, my final take is that I think our past informs us of a lot and doesn't define us now per se. And that if we can take the lessons, release the pain, and rewrite the narrative, we can actually see things more better and attract better experiences. Like the analogy we use that why do you keep attracting this kind of people? But other people also attract better. It's just because you're stuck with this and that wall, which is also somewhat natural, but you have to also heal it. That wall is there blocking you, and you're always looking for what is not lost or missing.
Self-sabotage is another thing.
Yes. Yeah. Self-sabotage yourself. So, yeah, I think, that's,
You have a final take?
I think for me, I'll ask a question after you say what you have to say. But I think what we should be thinking about is why do I act the way that I do? Right? Good or bad? Why? What's the reason? Am I self-sacrificing? Because it may feel good, but is it really coming from a place of love and a place that is healthy? Just because you're doing something, just because people think what you're doing is good doesn't mean it may be good for everyone else, but you could be self-sacrificing yourself in the process. So we need to look at things like why fear of rejection, trust, emotional avoidance. And what I'm doing, am I being authentic with myself? Because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? If you're authentic with yourself, you'll be authentic with everyone around you. And like it or not, this is who I am. And people will love you for it. And I think we have this thing in our society and our community where we want everyone to love us. I remember saying this a few days ago to a younger person. I'm like, you think about Jesus in the Bible, Jesus Christ. What got him crucified? He was doing something good, right? So just because you're doing something good doesn't mean everyone cares. Everyone will like you. And everyone will appreciate what you're doing. So the idea of everyone liking me, trying to please everyone, in itself comes from a place of lack. I'm not worthy. Become more self-aware of yourself. Forgive yourself for the things you've done. Appreciate every experience as it comes. Because every experience teaches you something, whether you think it's good or you think it's bad. It teaches you something. Sometimes you experience things just to know that you don't have the power to control the world, or you don't have the power outside yourself. You can't control anything outside of yourself. So thinking from that perspective, like, okay, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be honest with people around me. You don't need a million friends. You need a few friends. I told this younger person the same thing. I said, if you have two really good friends that deeply and truly care about you, you have more than you think in this world. You have more than most people. Two good friends that you know for a fact that they will always be there for you. They'll always have your back. And they'll always be truthful and genuine with you. You have more than most people have. You're worthier than most people. Not financially, obviously, but and this thing of chaos and passion and people conflating and thinking passion is chaotic. No, it's not. It's passion is passion. It's dynamic, it's fluid, but it's still passion. If it's chaos, it's chaos. Chaos is not passion. So if you find yourself in a repeating pattern, you need to start asking yourself. Self-reflection is the key thing that we don't practice enough. Why do I keep choosing this partner? Why do I keep finding myself in this? What experiences did I have that made me think that I'm less than, or this is okay? Because it's not acceptable. If it doesn't bring you peace and joy, and it's not exciting in the world, like, oh, it's chaos. Oh, I don't know my partner's going to be here today. No. But if it doesn't bring you peace and it doesn't bring you joy, there is something in your past, whether it's in childhood or you've learned it over your course, few years as you're growing up, you pick something up. You're right. People do pick awful behaviors from relationship because your first relationship was more of a chaotic thing. So you think, okay, maybe that's what relationship is. That's what it's all about. And then you jump into another chaotic. But the question is, why did you even stay in that relationship long enough? It's not that the pattern is repeating itself. It's relevant, but it's not as relevant. It's why am I still doing it? I think people need to self-heal and do what you need to do to heal yourself. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so I was just going to add that to yes, right. Actually, healing. Because we're talking about past. Well, awareness, that's what I said the first time. Very key. Not being selfish. And yes, those two, because sometimes the walls we build and we say is from past experiences from past relationship, we're not even caused by the next door partner. Sometimes it's ourselves that caused that made the other person behave the way they behave, and we have to be honest to be aware of that and note that down so that we're not being selfish and blame the other person when we
taking accountable of your own actions.
We're not also taking accountable for our own actions. So some of the walls we build, let's not try to make it seem or look like it's always the next person.
Yeah.
Experiences, that's why I was saying they're all experiences. It can be good or bad, and it can come from both parties experiencing or in that relationship. So the awareness that, oh, I did this, that made this person behave like this. And so I'm learning from this situation, even if it seems like I'm now building a wall and trying to look for some things that I saw that was out of the reaction of what I did from my other partner. So I just wanted to bring this truthful. It's not them. Sometimes it can be us. And so that's why I always say it's always one of the, I take what I can learn from it. I rewrite the narrative and so that I can enjoy my present relationship.
Yeah, well, you guys have said it all. What I'll just like chip in is these instances of everything we talked about kind of applies to every aspect of life, be it work, business, relationships, life in general. So, for me, I'd close by saying that it's all about training your mind to recognize certain things, certain triggers, and training your mind how to overcome them. Triggers like, the mindset of, history will always repeat itself, or the mindset of, say, aspects of a condition or and at least seen aspects of a condition that has happened before, and they created this kind of wound. Now, for you to actually train your mind to kind of, curb your mind from reopening the closed wound, which may affect your present situation. And in general, just like being sound both in health, mindsets, and the partners you pick in general. So that's how I see it, though. So if there is nothing else,
Yeah, we have to, because this thing is song.
feel
bad.
So thanks for joining us today. I hope you learned one or two things from what we talked about, and we are by no means experts in this. So thanks for giving us your audience.
Then, but before you close, I have a question that I'd like to pose to the audience, which is, what past experiences are holding you back from becoming the future self you envisioned, right? But also, and maybe a better question is, how can I react or respond better when I'm triggered? Which you kind of touched on it, but I just wanted something for people to think about, food for thought. Like, how can I respond better when I'm triggered? And what past experiences are holding me back? And what am I planning on doing to heal from the things that are holding me back? What do I need to do to forgive myself? Because you have to forgive yourself first and forgive the people that have wronged you if they have, because it's not always people wronging you. Sometimes your shame can hold you in a place that's, I see that quite a bit with people where shame holds them in bondage. The wall that you build to keep people out can also be the wall that keeps you. It becomes your own prison, right? So
That's what I was trying to say.
So you're heading from the horse's mouth. Train your mind. Realize, recognize those triggers, and most importantly, stay healthy, because everything else can be priority when you're healthy. But when your health is down, your health becomes priority. And with that, we close out. Peace.
Peace.